Oh, thank you. I have a slightly more complicated system. Bear with me. So yes, I oversee arts programming at the CBC, and that entails some television, some grand television, but also overseeing a CBC Arts vertical. And that vertical is a platform that curates stories from across the CBC, from the regions, from the national, from wherever they're produced, but also in-house content that we produce. We have a little studio, and we produce video and articles, and we commission freelancers to come up with these beautiful stories that we place online. And we also produce a show called Cbc Arts Exhibitionists, and I'll let Amanda Paris explain what's on that show. We put it on television, but in fact it's a curated perspective of some of the best of what we've produced online throughout the week.
For two seasons, we have traveled coast to coast to coast, discovered the disruptors and innovators changing how we see Canada. Through movement, through image, through sound. Now we're back. It's our biggest season yet. More inspiration, more innovation, all Canadian. Welcome to Cbc Arts Exhibitionists Season 3.
So what we intend and what we are is a conduit to bring Canadians closer to the most interesting, inspiring, and shareable art and artists. It's not strictly CBC News, but it is newsworthy and engaging. And in order to do that, we've decided that we need a set of filters and core values, and these are the values that we stick with. We are fresh, and fresh means highlighting artists who are disrupting the conversation. We are diverse. That means we're representing a broad and array of cultures, lifestyles, and art practices that are currently redefining the art landscape. We are distinct. That means we cover stories that some of our competitors won't or don't broach. And when we tackle big names, pop stars, grand artists, we try to do it in ways others won't or don't. We are irreverent. That means we respect artists that have lasted through the decades, but if they don't appeal to our audience, and this is a tough one, we won't cover them out of deference or obligation. We are where our audience lives. And for every story, we ask, will this story engage our core audience? And if it does not, then perhaps the next time we iterate with something different. So what we make as well are articles. It's not just video. For instance, this one was very popular, and artists left disposable cameras all over Toronto. This is the result. Another very popular one this week is a curation of a list, essentially, of 6 Indigenous films that you have to see that are free online. We collated them from the NFB and from other sources. So we collect and aggregate all of the articles dealing with arts across the country. And we also make videos in-house with the collaboration of independent producers. Canada's a Drag is particularly popular. Lord, the Mary Virgin in Edmonton actually had a screening party with her posse and her people, and the other drag queens that we featured in this series did the same, creating a massive community of like-minded people that really enjoyed and wouldn't have really had this sort of opportunity to sort of come together. So it created a conversation and a collaboration. We also make TV shows. You just saw a little bit of what Exhibitionists does. Interrupt This program is an International Emmy Awards series, nominated series that looks at art scenes in cities that have experienced trauma or disarray, economic, political. We also have a filmmakers show. Of course, all of these programs have iterations online, and that's the key to the success of growing. Filmmakers this year will be all about women, 8 films by emerging filmmakers, and established as well, all women. We participate in live events, and we're thrilled to be able to do more of that. This was The Secret Path, Gord Downey's beautiful film in collaboration with animator Jeff Lemire. And following the broadcast and the streaming of this event, there was a grand discussion. You can see Jesse Wedty and Ryan Moran, Tasha Hubbard, and our own Melanie Hadley. And they conducted a conversation, and we had comments. 40,000 people contributing and collaborating, and that audience online is even growing as we speak. Other collaborations, we were at WAG last month, and there is our friend over here with curator Julie Nagam, who was interviewed. We did a pop-up shop, and we broadcast the entire show out of WAG. With videos that we commissioned from an Indigenous company. We worked with them and produced essentially electronic press kits for all of these Indigenous artists that they can use and they can keep, and they're theirs forever and online on our site. This Artworks was a fun collaboration with OCAD and a collective of female filmmakers, and they did this sort of subversive social justice series that was quite controversial online. And below you'll see there's Creative Minds already in its second year, third iteration, where we collaborate with AGO, Massey Hall, and Banff Center for Arts and Culture. Here we go. And it's been working quite well. And creativity, sorry, I slipped there. I'm going to show you another video. And we also produce these digital videos, these digital series that we commission with, from outside producers. They also have to respect our core values. We've narrowed all of this because in order to gain that audience, we have to give them exactly what they want.
Being an artist from a completely different cultural background, you have to deal with a lot of confusion. So in my art, the girl is often doing a facial expression like this.
So why this digital-first approach, and what does it look like? So all of this information, all of these videos, all of these articles, and the bits and pieces that we collect from the television shows, they all run on all of our platforms, on cbc.ca Arts, on our OTT over-the-top platform, on our CBC Arts YouTube, on our CBC Verticals, on CBC Indigenous. We collaborate a lot with them. This is where we live. This is sort of what it looks like. There's an Instagram page. There's a YouTube page. There's a Facebook page. And the content is iterated to fit each one of these platforms in a different way. The key is shareability and to get the audience where it is. This is a photograph that I took on the bus coming home just a few days ago. Every single person is tethered to their phones. We know now that changing consumption patterns are choosing how we choose to engage with the arts also. We know that the flight of a younger demo is forever now. They now live online. They're not going to come back to traditional TV. So we need to nurture and grow that audience, and we need to engage with niche audiences that are underserved and create these communities. We think that that's perhaps our mission and our job, to help create them when they want to be, of course, created. All of the research that we have and that we've spoken about over these last couple of days points to this. Underserved audiences need better representation. They're asking for it. People of color, LGBTQ+, Indigenous, marginalized, ethnic and artistic communities. They need to see themselves. And we're finding, and we're still working on sort of compiling the data, that digital stories are a conduit to live or increased interest and participation in live events. There's no surprise. The more you shine a light on wonderful content, the more people will be engaged and interested and perhaps going to see a live event. A key thing with online production is that it is much cheaper than legacy. So you can fail, and we fail often, and we figure out what works. So here is a representation of the sort of le palmarès of the big hits that we have now on YouTube. YouTube is a good way of gauging interest and seeing how things do, because people stay online on YouTube much longer. The ballet knows this because they have superstar Guillaume, who makes these wonderful videos that millions of people watch. But if you look at the sort of, there's a sort of a plethora of different kinds of content that is appealing to people, but what's performing really well are Indigenous stories, and this is an ongoing story for us. Social justice issues, stories like Straight Outta Karachi, about a rap band, really connects with the diaspora as well and with Pakistani communities here. So social justice issues, and then edgy, provocative stories, and wellness. Wellness is a big issue. Wellness and art therapy, sucre, and at the very top, there's awesome and beauty. So those are themes that have come up again, and people do go online to just revel in nature and revel in the gorgeousness and revel in how wonderful the art can make us feel. Here's a few comments. Check out the last one. Jake Paul gets more subscribers than this amazing channel. Think about that. Society is lost. Little ha-ha. So I'll play another little video, because this is an area where we're also growing. Dance is popular, but not your ordinary dance.
The beauty about breaking is that it's really about having your own unique style. And considering my difference, I had to learn how to create movement on my own. Ill-ability, it's a term that I created about 10 years ago. The whole idea is to take the word disability out of the dictionary and replace it with ill-ability. You see, in hip-hop, what's bad is good. So when you see something you like, you say, yo, that's ill. And so ill-ability means incredible ability. And whether you have a disability or not, I personally believe that we all have a talent within us, but we're all unique and we all have something special to give to this world.
Sharing. Here's another video by a fellow here at Banff, formerly, Ella Cooper, who is a filmmaker and a photographer, and she co-produced this piece with our editors.
Canada's national identity and what that looks like, I often think of the Group of Seven, Moose, Canadian Mountie. Rarely do I see Black women depicted in the Canadian landscape. And so I became really interested in what would it mean to reclaim the Black female body in Canada? What does that look like from a Canadian perspective? I can relate to the people who say there will be dancing at my revolution. Over the last few years, I've been doing work on my own body to finally come up with a series which is really about reclaiming the Black female nude from a perspective that I call embodied elated resistance.
It's a longer piece, but we won't linger. You can go online to check out the rest of it. I think we're sort of a little bit running out of time, so I'll give you our sort of general learnings, what's working for us. The key is sticking to the values. If you write up those core values, you have to sort of stick with them. Listen, publish, iterate, and repeat. Do not be afraid to fail. Don't be boring. Serve the communities that need you, and build partnerships with like-minded allies. And revel in the niche. We found that this is an important thing. Find those niches and collaborate with them and create these communities that have been underserved. And then be of service to the awesome. That's always a good idea. Thank you.